same person now that he was back then. I mean, he really is. He's the same person. I've known him for a long, long time, since I was young, and I was friends with Sheila, and he was her, very cool older brother. She's heard this her whole life. But he was just a really cool older brother, and he taught himself to play drums, and then he ended up playing in ASIF, a really popular, well-known Christian band in the area. They played some pretty big gigs with some pretty big names, and they've had this friendship they formed, and they're still friends. They're still tight, and I love that. And I think that really shaped Terry a lot, because he has a deep and abiding love for music, which that's why all the drum things that you see. He's a really good drummer. And also, somewhere along the way, he became a pretty good writer. And he knows how to tell a story and put you in it and make you feel it. And I think you'll like this book. So,
growing up, I lived in foster care. I was made a ward of the state when I was 5. My sister was like knee-high to a grasshopper. And it was a bumpy thing. Being a foster kid back in the day, in the early stages of that program, was no joke. It was a serious deal. And so a lot of my writing, you'll see hints and little snippets about that. But I've got a lot of great memories as a kid. And one of those is the Greater Gulf State Fair. You guys remember the fair? So I'd like to read to you the fair. On the last Saturday of October, the fair was in town. On that day, foster kids got to go for free. Yep, you heard right. Free. Free admission, free rides, free shows, even free fair food. Tricia, did you like the alliteration I did there? Free fair food? Huh? Excellent. The fair began in 1955. The early days featured a few juggling acts and a fresh-faced singer named Elvis Presley from over in Mississippi somewhere. Elvis liked playing there so much that after his first gig, he wanted a contract so he could come back for the next 4 years. He asked for $1,600, $400 per year. It seemed like a, wait for it, fair price at the time. You see what I did there? Fair price? I'll show my way out. I'll see my own way. And way back at the extreme edge of the Midway were the freak shows. Now you have to forgive me. I know that's politically insensitive, but that's what 9-year-old boys called them back in the day. Freak shows. Most of these were closed to kids, but we managed to sneak in to see a few. If you were careful, you could wiggle under the edge of the tent where it wasn't pegged down too tightly. We looked in wide-eyed wonder at the bearded lady, the Siamese twins with 2 heads and 1 body, the headless woman who talked to the crowd from her still-alive head held in her lap, the wolf boy, the 4-legged man, the armless woman who drew a picture with a pencil held between her toes while we watched in breathless amazement. Thankfully, we're more sensitive and civilized these days, and we don't have shows like that anymore. Plus, we don't need them. We have Walmart. But back to the fair. The music experience at the fair only got better. There were live bands playing, local acts mostly, but they had real drummers. I would push my way to the front of the crowd in front of the stage and watch the drummer with the shiny cymbals and the drums done up in red or blue sparkle, or maybe in that cool pearl look just like Ringo's drums. In later years, the kits became more extreme with clear shells and multi-tom setups, but those early days were all about backbeat and innocence.
So what would you say your favorite thing is about Terry and his books? Favorite thing is detail to what inspired him, like energy, but it's a passion. So when he's explaining like the fair, and he's like the smell of it, like coming from what he came from, like your excitement level is a little different than other people's. Like you finally get to get out and have like a free ride to this amusement park, and so everything that comes at you is enjoyable because like there's things in your life that you don't necessarily know that are amazing, but for whatever reason they are. I didn't necessarily know that his writing was so detailed into what he felt like tangible, like what was part of his life.
I've known Terry for 43 years. I was in his wedding, and I love him, and I love his book. I have all of them, and I can't wait to read this one. Tonight was such a great event. The gallery is beautiful. The food and the people here were just fabulous, and we're just excited to be here for Terry.
He makes you think with his books of a better, sweeter country. We had the 60s and 70s, hippies and, protests and all that, but we knew what mattered, friends and family. And God. Church and God.
God is first priority.
That's right.
Growing up, he would have never thought that he lived the life that he did because he never told us
About him being in different
no idea that he was adopted or different families or
But he was in
anything like
foster
that.
care and things like that. He never
Never
showed
let on.
that. He is such a positive, he's always been a positive person.
He's turned out so awesome. So proud of him.
But he hasn't lost his humble beginnings and he hasn't lost his friends.